in an effort to make best practices available to Rotarians across the country and to provide them with the tools and resources that they may need to justify and get approval for a presentation at their club. I would like to take a moment now to have a dialogue between Judy Nagel and Howard Hauser in Green Bay, Wisconsin, former and past presidents of their Rotary. And if you could share with us the steps that it took so that you could not only present to a committee within the Rotary, but then the Rotary itself. And then ultimately, as you mentioned, you provided or presented a town hall public event inviting everyone in the community, and it was a great success. So if you could, and then I would ask everyone else on the call, at the end, if you have time, ask Howard and Judy a couple of questions. And again, thinking that this is serving the needs of Rotarians across the country in asking the question, how can we present to our club and perhaps even to the public at large? So Howard and Judy.
Well, first of all, it started out with me being contacted by another Rotary member and putting me in touch with somebody who was supporting the American Promise project. And when I checked out American Promise, that, well, this makes sense. And then needed to find a partner to do the presentation. Howard was the second person I talked to, the second organization. And he gratefully said, yeah. So the first thing we did was a presentation to our own club. And Howard, you may want to comment about, you were president at the time, what kind of response you got back from Rotary members?
Right. Actually, this was before I was president, but yeah, we made the presentation. Getting the presentation at the time, we didn't have an abundance of presenters, so getting on the agenda was relatively easy at that point in time. The engagement, I've done a lot of presentations to a lot of clubs over the years here and in North Carolina, and as you all have watched lots of them. I've never saw, and not just because it was Judy, and me presenting, but I never saw the response and the attention, to the subject that I got when we did this presentation. People really paid attention, and the number of people that came up afterward and said, "Wow, that was a good presentation. This is something we really need. Let me know what I can do to help." Yeah, I just never saw that before. So yeah, it was pretty cool. It was very exciting.
And that led us to the proposal to the board of directors that we do this as a community event. So we had some discussion at the board of directors. There were some people that were not supportive, others that were. So knowing that that could be the scenario, I asked for a secret ballot of those that wanted to support versus those that didn't. So nobody felt they were under pressure. Everybody could vote their conscience. And we had 8 for and 2 opposed. So we did then at the next meeting announce to the club that we would be proceeding with a town hall event. And what gave me the comfort level to say that was a response that we had from the presentation that we gave to the Rotary Club. With that, then we targeted a couple of key Rotary members to help us in the project. Jeff Merkus, who is the executive director for downtown Green Bay, well connected into the mayors, county executives, Chamber of Commerce. With Catherine Kroll, who is a young person, tech savvy. And so she was very helpful in us being able to get the media invitations out. Other comments that you'd like to make, Howard?
Yeah, I was going to say, other than our annual fundraiser, we had more members engaged in the production of this event, participating before or during than we did anything else that we do. And since I've been in the club for the last 5 years. So, that I think also speaks to, the support that we got and that people felt. And I know that there were people from both sides of the aisle. I mean, that were involved, conservatives, yes, everybody was there. It was good.
The biggest challenge is making sure you get the invites out. So Catherine helped us use LinkedIn. We got invites out. I sent on a number of different boards of directors, sent the invites out to those members, encouraged them to forward those onto their networks. Did some verbal outreaches to like the Chamber of Commerce, the mayor's office, county exec office. And, you know, even though they didn't come, with the exception of one of the mayors, the fact that they were in the loop of the information and they weren't being blindsided was a plus. We held the event on a Friday morning so people could get to their offices. And Howard, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I think it's another prep thing that I think that was important, because as we worked through this, and the Alan and Jeff at American Promise were really helped a lot. I need to say, need to recognize,
Absolutely.
because they gave us the blueprint and they really guided us, which was invaluable. It made us look like we really knew what we were doing. One of the things that they guided us on is we started out with the idea of inviting a couple of our local representatives to attend, and ultimately we decided not to do that at their recommendation. As we thought about it more, because we had no current political figure that was invited to attend. With some past ones, but so that because we didn't want anybody to be able to point to this is one party or another. So again, we took that out of it. And so I think that was really, and there was also a couple of other organizations that had indicated some interest in participating. And again, because of their knowledge and how they're perceived in the community, as being either liberal or conservative, we decided not to involve them and use them as a co-sponsor. So we were very cautious, again, to keep that in the neutral space. So that, I think that's also was an important thing that we accomplished.
On that same day, we had the event in the morning. I think Alan and Jeff had some other events scheduled during the day, but then that evening I hosted at my home a private event for a smaller group of people that either couldn't attend in the morning, or that were some key people to get the information to. Yeah, that kind of helped as well cement some relationships, where Jeff and Alan had a chance to talk to a couple of people that I think will help us as we go forward in broadening some of our networks.
Yeah. That's kind of a wrap. Maybe one other thing, we were lucky enough to actually have Jeff Clements present. So he spoke, which certainly as our keynote speaker was obviously very helpful in a successful endeavor. We also are lucky enough to have one of the former anchors of one of our local news networks. He's retired, a member of our club. He acted as the MC, which gave us a very professional presentation and continuity throughout, so that the event came off very well. So if you've got anybody like that available. We also had a local newspaper cover it, and we got a half page below the fold, but on the front page of the local newspaper. So that a write up and a photo. So that was really helped.
We had a couple of people that really wanted to endorse the project, but couldn't attend. So we had a video presentation from a gentleman who's a Silver Star veteran, and then a young community entrepreneur. So that kind of gave us a pretty broad perspective of who supports the project, as well as the former senator from New Hampshire and the woman who won the election against him. So again, that kind of addressed that whole cross-partisan, bipartisan support issue.
And if I may be so bold, I was in attendance, and it was a tremendously successful event. And what I would say it was essentially is, you'd mentioned it was a town hall format, but it was a community event. So it wasn't limited to only Rotarians, but everyone within the community and in the network of the Rotarians involved. And you were able to present the slide deck for the Rotary presentation, but you didn't have the time constraints. So you could take more time developing dialogue about it. You had these guest speakers, some live, some video messaging in, including, sitting and previous, elected officials. And you had a chance at the end, not only to have Jeff's comments, but then a chance at the end for real good discourse. So there were questions and answers, and all in all, it was the Rotary presentation, but so much better because it was available to the public and you had a full format, hour-long, refreshments served, involvement. And I thought it was as tremendously successful as an event could be.
We did where we held the event was at the Hyatt, at their convention center. And if you came in the front door, you walked 2 blocks to get back to the meeting room. So we had Rotary members staged from the front door to the event place wearing the American Promise t-shirt. So it was easy for people to identify, and they kind of served as ambassadors. So by the time the people got to the meeting room, they felt pretty friendly about Rotary already. I was at an event last night where one of our Rotary members still had that t-shirt. He's been wearing it around town, and people have been asking, what's this American Promise thing? So he's had the opportunity to share that with them. I was at an event last week. One of the people from one of the boards I served on had gotten the invite to the event, hadn't been able to attend. He says, well, how are you doing with that 28th Amendment? So it had an opportunity to open up a conversation. So you never know when you plant those seeds, what's gonna develop out of it.